All right, guys, welcome back to the course. We're just starting our SEM lectures here, and before we dive into the next steps you'd take to start creating and paying for ads online, let's use this lecture to cover some of the groundwork and the basics that you should know about SEM topics. Things like how PPC words work, and yes, we don't know what PPC is, and we're going to explain that. Now, first off, you might hear people refer to search engine marketing, or SEM, as paid search, and it's just a way to help distinguish it from organic search results. Now, remember that organic search results are the main part of those SERPs, or search engine result pages. But at the top and the sides of those SERPs, you see ads, and those are where paid search ads will show up. Now, on Google, those ads come from Google AdWords system. Bing and Yahoo also have their own advertising system. They're almost identical. So if you want to be seen on their search engine pages, well, then really you just take the exact same thing you did for Google AdWords and then you go do it for Bing. And it's just search for Bing advertising. One thing you might notice though, on Google, when you search and you see organic results and then ads are very clearly marked. They're often a different color. They have a different background color. Sometimes they even just say ad right above them. Whereas with Yahoo and Bing, they use the same marketing platform now. Sometimes you can't tell which one's an ad. And Yahoo, I'm not sure 100% if they still have this, but for the longest time they had paid placement. So what you could do is pay and have your thing show up as organic. And it wouldn't even look like an ad. But then every time someone clicked it, they would get paid. It was like a shadow ad. You can understand why Yahoo probably not so popular if you're constantly feeding in search results that are just paying you the most money. People don't want to use a search engine that's going to give them the highest bidder. They want the most accurate search results. So anyway, one of the big types of paid search advertising out there is known as pay-per-click, or PPC for short. Now, the name of this ad type really is accurate, by the way. You pay when the user clicks. And the amount you pay is based on a bidding system, so you never pay more than what you want to. It's a little tricky, so let me describe how it works in a little more detail. So first you decide what you want to advertise. What is it you're trying to sell or get people to check out on your website? Are you driving them to a landing page? Okay, a landing page, if you guys forgot, is just a one web page website that is very focused on one singular thing. They're most commonly used with ads. So when you click through an ad, you go to a page that's focused, it's not distracting, it doesn't just throw you on a home page, and then you have to figure out where you're trying to find the product that's being advertised. The landing page might ask for them to buy something, it could ask them to sign up for something, it could ask them to download an app, download an ebook, whatever. So if you're trying to do that, well, then you have to take that in consideration with your advertising efforts. Or let's say, are you trying to raise awareness of a new product that you're launching? Well, with an ad, you generally don't just lead people to your homepage, right? You're gonna have to bring them to a landing page. So next, you should decide which keywords to advertise for to reach your audience. For your ad to work, which SERP would make sense for your ad to appear on? When people Google phrases or terms or questions, you want your ad to show up for the right one, so there's an obvious connect with their needs. For example, if you're trying to advertise your web hosting services, it makes sense to advertise for someone looking for web hosting solutions. So you'd select keywords related to web hosting, though you and 1,000 other companies would be competing for that same audience. Competitive keywords are the ones that people bid the most for, since the biggest audience is seeing ads on those SERP pages. Being able to select specific keyword phrases with high relevance for your audience but less competition will give you a chance to actually win bids for ad placement and hopefully not pay an exorbitant amount of money for them. Now, as far as search ad placement goes, you've probably seen ads on these SERPs before, like, let's see, on this page for WordPress hosting. Now, the best placement is at the top where a few links might appear. And then at the bottom of the page below, the first group of organic search results. Now, by the way, Google has stopped placing search ads on the side of the page for most SERPs, saving that space for related information and links now. As you're watching this now, it could actually change. Google seems to reorganize this quite a bit. So after you figure out what you want to advertise and which keywords you want to advertise for, you need to set a budget and start bidding on your keywords. Through AdWords, Google gives you different options on how to control your advertising. You can tell them how much you want to spend each time someone clicks your ad, how much you want to spend in total, and when you want to start and stop advertising. Now the question becomes, how can you get that sweet top paid position so that your ad appears first? Well, Google ranks paid ads based on how much you bid, but also, here's the kicker, the quality of the ad and the format of your ad, and especially the relevancy to the keyword. Yes, you heard this right. It's not completely about how much you pay. That's what Yahoo and Bing do. Google, on the other hand, wants to match up users with ads that actually appeal to them and help them with their search. Now, that ad placement, or what's what it's called is ad rank with capital R, like capital A, capital R, is determined by something that we call a quality score. That's a very important concept. Now, the quality score is a number Google assigns to each ad based on how much you bid and the quality of the ad. Now, the quality is based on a bunch of factors which go beyond your ad. It can be affected by the quality of your landing page. It could be your current click-through rate, even your past AdWords campaigns. Now, click-through rate, or CTR, is the rate at which people click on your ad when they see it. The better and more relevant it looks to them, well, probably the higher your rate should be. So if you show your ad to 100 people and 5 people click it, your click-through rate is 5%. So keep in mind that the average CTR, just generally, okay, this is just a big blanket. It's not specific to any industry, but generally the big blanket would say that 2% is the average click-through rate for a search engine ad. Now that means on average, 50 people will see the ad before one person clicks on it. And I mentioned something about the format of the ad too, didn't I? Well, ads don't just come as text, although on those SERPs, they are only text. But as you're planning your ad, think about your audience and figure out how to get the people to click, how to specifically entice that audience to be interested in what you're talking about. You should be aware of other ad formats as well that you might want to use. Depending on what you're selling, it could be the case that text just doesn't work very well for you, so it might be the case that you try some of their other stuff. Here are some examples of the other things you can use through AdWords. We have display ads, which are basically just banner ads that have been around for forever, basically. They can be images or rich media that includes some animations or interactive features of some kind. Now, Google even created a gallery of rich media ads you can browse to see how they would appear on certain pages and platforms. People do some really cool and crazy stuff with display ads now, so keep in mind, there's a decently high bar, but it's just like a little box that you have to design, so it's not gonna be too expensive or too time consuming. Mobile ads are ads that get displayed only on mobile devices. Now, these ads need to be formatted for a smaller screen, but they can be really useful if you wanna reach customers when they're out shopping, say. Keeping in mind, mobile ads get higher click-through rates, but their error rate is incredibly high because it's a tiny screen and people have fat thumbs, so a lot of times they accidentally click what you're trying to advertise. So yeah. Also, people who are on mobile are just less likely to buy something on their phone. So you have to kind of keep that in mind as well. And the last thing are app ads, which are ads you create specifically to promote ads on mobile devices. Now, instead of driving people to a landing page, you can push them right to the download page in your iOS or Google Play Store instead. So not a web page. It's basically the same thing as a mobile ad, but you're just gonna send them right to the iOS or Google Play Store. Now, it makes a lot of sense if people are searching on their phone, obviously, because they don't wanna go look at a page, then be convinced to download it, then click through and then find it and download. Once you do get your ad placed on the search engine result pages, SERPs, not only will you begin to see your click-through rate, but you'll get a cost per click, again, which is what we will, from now on, we'll refer to as CPC. Now, remember, CPC is how much you end up paying every time someone clicks your ad. That cost is going to be determined by how competitive the search term is, how much you bid, and then also your quality score. In general, if Google says you have a really high quality score, they really like your ad, they think it's super relevant, it's not spammy, they like your landing page, you'll actually pay significantly less. You can also evaluate your ad based on how many conversions you get. Now, you're probably familiar with conversions at this point in the course, but just to be clear, every time someone completes a specific task you've outlined for yourself as a goal, like making a sale or getting a registration through a landing page, well, that's called a conversion, and it's something you can track in the AdWords system. Pretty straightforward. So the process we discussed here, planning your ads, picking your keywords and audience, and then budgeting and bidding, those are the steps you'd follow for pay-per-click advertising. In our lectures to come, we'll talk about how to place bids in the AdWords system and how to make your ads the best they can. For those of you wondering, what about like CPM or CPA? If you forgot about this, CPM is cost per, and that's the French word for 1,000. It's like me, I can't pronounce it. But It means for every 1,000 people, you pay a certain amount. So every 1,000 people who just see it has nothing to do with clicking on it, you pay a certain amount. Google still offers this, and you can do it, but it's just really inefficient, and it's not really something you want to do, especially at the beginning. It's very, very rare cases where doing CPMs make more sense. CPA means cost per action, and that basically means you pay once someone converts. Google doesn't play that game. You are only going to do CPAs if you have some direct affiliate relationship with someone selling a product or some really niche, exclusive advertising platform. All right, guys, I will see you in the next lecture.